Greetings from the Magnolia. I'm Nida Bittman-Neville, your host, and join me as we explore image, brand, and business culture. I am CEO of TNB Consulting Group, where we specialize in marketing, communication, and image. And everything we do, whether it's marketing strategies or it's customized training or executive coaching, enhances our clients' image and brand. Now, on today's show, we have a very, very special show. In fact, I want to introduce you to Harold Wooten. And Harold is a very good friend of mine from numerous years, and he has written a book called Justice is Just Us. And it says that it is for anyone who believes in change. And it is truly a most enjoyable and enlightening book. And I would now like to invite you to listen to an interview that was conducted with Harold.
Hi, Nancy.
I wanted to tell you I truly enjoyed reading your book, Justice. Found it to be very enlightening and inspirational.
Great.
But I want you to tell our viewers about it. What is the genre?
Well, Nancy, it really crosses over 4 genres, if you will. There's a good element of it that's psychological. It's a story about courts. It's legal fiction, if you will. And interestingly enough, there are plenty of women's issues in this. And the reason I focus on women's issues so much is that when I look at the innovations that are going to be necessary to get the criminal justice system back on track, and it's clearly derailed right now, those innovations are going to come through pro-social support in the community. And we know, everyone accepts, I believe, that women understand how to network with each other. And networking with the community will be absolutely essential to the future of criminal justice. As Margaret Mead says, when you liberate a woman, you also liberate a man.
Very true. Now tell us, how did you choose the title, Justice is Just Us?
Well, that's a long story. We could take years to say that. There were lots of titles, that's fair to say. But all of the titles spun around a history with the notion that justice for minorities has always been off track in the United States. But for instance, Dick Gregory said justice equal just us. Richard Pryor has his joke where I'll give you the short version. He says he was incarcerated for a year for not paying his taxes. He told the judge he'd forgotten. The judge said, "You'll remember next year." Puts him in the slammer. And he said while he was in court, when you look around, that's all you saw, meaning black men, just us. So that's his play on words, justice. But for me, there's another joke that I intertwined in there, and that line actually comes out in the book by one of the key players, Huggy, where the old joke is the farmer is having eggs stolen from his hen house. So he hears a noise in the hen house, and he says, "Who's there?" And the fox says, "Ain't nobody here but us chickens." And Huggy delivers that line in the book, and the meaning of that is, ain't nobody going to take responsibility and move the criminal justice system away from punishment and the love of punishment and reliance on prisons and jails but us. In other words, in the final analysis, we're the ones who are accountable. And in the book, some key players take on that responsibility in the midst of great turmoil.
Would you mind sharing with our listeners a little bit of the storyline?
Sure. The story is set in 2003 in Montgomery County, which is right outside Washington, D.C., in the circuit court there. So the key players, of course, the judges, the probation staff, the federal defenders, the prosecutors, etc., in that community. The protagonist, from whom the point of view of the book mostly is told, is a young probation officer named G. Brooks. She's in her early 30s, blonde, blue eyes, a real athlete, very attractive woman. In fact, one of my friends said he'd like her phone number, but I have a little trouble giving him that. She realizes early in the book, as she's getting ready to go meet a new parolee who's still in prison, his name is TJ, she becomes aware that her marriage is falling apart. And not so subtle messages right in the beginning of the book. Her husband is sending signals that he wants out. Now this knocks her for a complete surprise. She's not ready for that. So the book shows her life upside down in enormous turmoil right from the beginning. But while that turmoil is going on, she also realizes an irritation with the power system, not only in the criminal justice system in Maryland, but with her deputy chief probation officer, where their attitude is tail 'em, nail 'em, jail 'em. That is, catch people, catch offenders doing something wrong. That's not her nature. Her nature is a very kind-hearted person who's always going the extra mile to help people. So she realizes that she's been pulling her punches with her dislike of the organizational culture within her office. These two events start the book and the great conflict that she has. So while she bristles at the tail 'em, nail 'em, jail 'em mentality, she goes on an inward journey, if you will, to find out who is she? What kind of person is she that her husband, seemingly nice guy, wants to get away from her? Why is she always not delivering what she thinks and feels? Now, on her journey, she gets great help from a psychiatrist, and that's a psychological component of the book. She develops a very close relationship with three buddies at the office, fellow probation officers, Huggy, Hattie, and Pepe, and together they're called the Cuatro Amigos. She begins to create networks and reaching out to others. She's a very resilient person. And as she reaches out, she begins to find herself. And early in the book, she meets TJ, who is a central player in the book. But in effect, then, what she's doing is wrestling with her negative life commandment that she received from her mother.
Thank you, Harold, for that very enlightening and delightful interview conducted by Nancy. And if you are interested in getting a copy of Harold's book called Justice is Just Us, please email me at themagnolia.tv. I'll be happy to put you in touch with Harold. Or if you would like to email Harold, his email address is hbw@wootenassociates.net. That's HB as in boy, W at Wooten, WOOTEN, associates.net. And again, as always, join us on Friday as we explore a variety of topics that influence image, brand, and business culture. And certainly change does just that. So we'll see you soon. Greetings from the Magnolia. I'm Nida Bittman Neville, your host.